I got to get this shit off my chest before I explode.
Sounds like something you say all the time.
I'm having a lot of angry moments these last. Actually, it's pent up. That's what it is. Because I do self analysis. I try to figure out why I'm so damn angry. I've been told I'm emotional. Maybe that's part of the reason.
I guess emotional could be considered a whole bunch of different things.
I've actually been called high strung.
Passionate, emotional, high strung.
But right now, more than that. Usually, exercise takes care of it. And it's not happening.
Oh no, we're all in trouble.
Hey, I'm not religious or anything, but both of my parents have passed, as you know. And I think what's really interesting that I did not expect, I've heard like eternal life. When I was being forced to go to church, I was in the Catholic religion at that point. But we heard a lot about eternal life. Do you hear that in your religion?
Yes.
Yeah. So obviously that's very difficult for me to understand, especially when I was younger, because I'm somebody who questions everything. I don't buy hardly anything, and that includes religion. It doesn't matter. But I have to tell you, something very interesting has happened since my parents have passed, both of them. And I don't know about you, but I think most of us as kids at some point have run-ins with our parents. We disagree with them, and we go through these phases. And, it's not going to always be smooth sailing. And it wasn't with me, with my parents. We had our run-ins. Some big ones too. Have you had, you're a lot younger. Have you had any run-ins with your parents, or is everything nice and rosy and sweet?
No, it's not nice and rosy at all.
Anyway, so, there was a time in my life with my parents. I didn't speak to my dad for a year and a half.
Wow.
And my mom, it was just like, it had to do with divorce and just how things were handled, blah, blah, blah. I'm not complaining because everybody goes through shit, and I'm not feeling sorry for myself, but I am just expressing, I know where it came from.
Yeah, which is good.
Because I got lucky from a shrink that I went to because of a divorce, because I have a tendency of, especially when I was younger, that I self-sabotage. And that's not a good thing.
No.
Sometimes. Probably not ever, but
no.
Especially when you're in a relationship. So I'm married the first time, and I'm having these where I self-sabotage my own relationship and myself. It's like, yeah. So when you think of that logically, it's like, why do you do that? Doesn't make any sense. But the point is, so I was lucky that I went to a shrink that made me understand that. And when I did that, then I understood at that point, because I was one of those kind of people, and I still am. I'm one of those kind of people that I don't think I need help. I can overcome it myself.
Yeah.
Use my will and all that.
A lot of people feel that way.
And I was one of those people, and I was in denial. I don't need a shrink. I'm okay. Even with cigarette smoking, I can give it up anytime. And I did, but but what the shrink did for me is he gave me tools. That's the mark of a good psychologist, I believe, because there's a lot of wackos out there. And I think we've talked about that before. But this, you get somebody that can make you understand and how to apply, tools to make you better and to keep you better consistently. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the same thing with the trainer that's working with their client that can actually provide them tools that by which they don't need you constantly.
Yeah.
And yet I think sometimes clients are like, they can't do it without the trainer. And I'm not saying that a little bit, maybe that shouldn't be, but if you're a trainer that can't teach your client in a way that they can be successful out there in the cruel world that we're in, you're not really that good of a trainer.
I think the same thing goes for parenting.
It's how many times have we talked about how there's so many things in life are the same but different.
Exactly. If you don't train that kid to handle life right, deal with life right, then he or she's gonna grow up not handling things right.
Yeah, and so it's really, you really get lucky. You start realizing that when you run across somebody who actually provides you with a skill set, cultural skill set, whatever. Anyway, but I think the thing that originally when I started talking about this is my parents, I had a lot of anger towards them because they went through a divorce and they didn't handle things the way they should have. And I really held that against them until I got older. Mm-hmm. Because with age, I realized that they did the best they could. And it didn't make any sense for me to keep hanging on to anger. Yeah. But boy, did I love hanging on to anger. Are you like that, or can you let this shit go? I
let things go. I can't have anger.
Yeah, I can't
eat me up alive.
I can't let anger go. I still can't. I mean, I'm better, but it's just part of the way I'm wired too, but I just can't. I hold grudges.
Oh yeah, I don't.
Especially
I've had to learn how to set my pride aside.
Especially when somebody crosses me. I mean, I was holding a grudge against my dad. Or I wouldn't even talk to him. And we were in the same gym working out.
Wow.
I crossed him. He'd go by this way, I go by that way. Fucking ignore him.
And how do you eventually get out of that state?
It's a tough one.
Can they get you out of the state, or do you have to get out of it yourself?
Well, I think in the end you have to get out of your, I had to just let it go. Mm-hmm. Clear the air at some point. But, it's amazing that you hold that kind of, maybe it's just me. It's that sick in the head. Now back then I'm, 30 something. So I think I'm less sick in the head now, but still sick in the head. Mm-hmm. Twisted.
Definitely.
Just a little bit.
Definitely sick in the head, twisted.
But you know what? Here's the thing. My parents passed, and I am amazed how often I think about them. I am amazed how often I think about them, like the things that they said and they did. Like my mom was really wacky, like she was like an animal person.
An animal person?
Yeah, she had 4 or 5 dogs. Okay. But she was into when the hawks or the birds would be out there chirping, she would say, those birds are talking. And I mean, she sincerely thought that, that those creatures, they were just like, they were talking, they were communicating to us. I thought, Mom, you are whacked. You are crazy.
I believe her.
But, and again, my dad the same way, and I think about all the stuff that he said, but you know what? The thoughts that I have about them are more frequent. I think about them more than I did when they were alive, which is sad, I think, in a way. But I think about them more now. I'm not going to say daily, but it's pretty often. And even though we went through some rough patches, the thoughts are all good. I mean, that's all I think about with them, are just all good things. And they're in my head all the time. And that's where, in my mind, that's where the eternal life is.
Oh, very interesting.
It's in my head. And my dad cracked me up. Because I go visit him. He was in a rest home for 5 years. Mm-hmm. And I go see him every week, at least once a week, And he was about a month away from dying at this point. Of course, I didn't know that, but I'm just telling you based on what he said. And I'm sitting there, he's in his bed over here, and I always would go watch football with him. It was on Sunday. And one day, he just, out of the blue, he said, Leo? I said, yeah, Dad. He goes, I'm going to live forever. Straight-faced. Cracked me up. The way he said it. Fuck, he was right.
True.
And my mom, too.
Yeah.
I just find that very, you know, there's things in life sometimes for me, it's like, you know what? They knew shit.
Yeah.
Somehow they knew shit. And this eternal life, this is how eternal life is to me. I think, anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. Of course, you can't relate to me really in this way. Well, your dad passed.
Yeah, I can relate to you completely. But I mean, even if you think about it, like even with relationships, when you lose relationships with someone and they're gone, you notice you start to remember all the good things and you start to forget the bad things.
Yeah.
It's this, and then same thing with parents, you know, because me and my dad, we had a really, really good relationship, but he was a flawed human being like every other person. But I don't really think about the flaws at all. It's all the good that I remember. So
interesting how that works out.
It is.
Anyway. Well, the thing that I'm really bent out of shape about is what's going on in our world today. You know, I just can't, now I can't let this shit go. You know, and it goes back to, you know, I let it go, but then I started thinking about this stuff again, and I get all riled up, and it goes back to when our politician and politicians. I'm gonna bag on politicians today.
Are you gonna bag on politicians?
I am, and hopefully not name names. I don't want to dignify the situation by naming their names. It pisses me off so much.
Please tell me how you really feel.
But, you know, when all this went down, this virus, and when they came out and said, and look, I do understand that when something new comes out that we don't know, I mean, when this thing first came out, it was, you don't know what the hell it is that you're dealing with. Now, time has passed.
Yeah.
It's a horse of a different color, as my dad used to say right now, in what's going on, how much we know and don't know than it was 3 months ago or whenever, March, when it happened. But I started thinking about, like, when these politicians came out and they determined, okay, essential businesses can stay open, but not non-essential businesses. You know, I started thinking, I get the idea that, you know, food is essential. I get that. But why am I not essential if I can't make a living, if I can't put food on the table for my family and protect them like that? How come I'm not essential? And I'm not saying that this is an easy problem to solve, but for you, politician, who designated you king ruler to determine that I'm not essential? And here's the thing that bothers me, which I'm never going to have a problem with this because I question everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you go out as a politician, you're a leader, and you say that to people, and for the people that never question anything, they just follow along. And, you know, I'm not that person. And because I'm going to tell you something right now, if you as a young person, you know, I've been around long enough, you know, and I've seen some stuff, and I'm telling you right now, if you don't start paying attention to what's going on in this world, because I think that, and then I don't know exactly know your habits, but I know that I was your age once, that I didn't pay attention to stuff like this in the world. And, you know, maybe that was okay, but we're in a time that is so weird for me, you know, and I think that based on a psych test that I took, I think I'm an optimistic person, but according to the psych test, I'm actually slightly pessimistic.
Oh.
Which was surprising to me, but I think I do have an optimistic side.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Over the years, as I'm watching stuff like this go on, the best analogy that I can use, or maybe a metaphor, is that the rug is being tugged away from underneath our feet slowly but surely.
Very slowly.
And then we've got leaders like this that are a part of the problem, I think. You know, they talk about the police. This is another thing that's going on. It's really making me question things. They're talking about dismantling police, and that so we don't need them. That's what they're saying. my question is, why the fuck do we need politicians? If we don't need police, why do we need them?
Yeah, I guess that's true too.
Why?
Didn't think of it like that.
It's just asking why. Why do I need you, politician? Who in some cases are giving me bullshit information, not based on facts, but fear. And another thing that irritates the piss out of me, and this goes back to you telling me that I'm not essential. And by the way, I was essential, but that I'm not, is that it's pretty easy for you to tell me that I'm not essential when you're still getting paid. And here's the thing that's really ironic about that shit. In our society, in our government, we the people are paying you out of taxpayer money. I'm your boss. And you're fucking telling me that I'm not essential and still getting paid? The nerve of you. The fucking nerve of you. Why don't we play on a little more even ground? I mean, if we're really being fair here, and I know you're an authority and you're in a different, I get that too, but let's just play for right now. Everything that I do is based on performance, results, accountability, consequences. And I know that we the people, we keep putting you meatheads in office. Some of that is on us.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But here's what happens, I think. The way that some of these yo-yos get put into office is by scaring people, is by making people feel that they have to depend on the government. That's how they get those votes.
Yeah, but
it's pretty fucking dishonest.
And making the people that they're running against look worse, scaring as if like if you put them in office, then this is what's going to happen to you. Well, and everybody freaks out and thinks, oh my gosh, when really probably that person wasn't going to do it at all.
And some of that's going on right now. Scare tactics. Keep them in fear. So they'll come to us and we'll take care of you as your government. They're enabling people. Why? Because they're good people and they're all altruistic. Trying to get a fucking vote. I get it. But what I'm saying is that, again, you in the tower who keeps getting paid by our tax money when we're getting shut down, and a lot of the people that were trying to get stimulus checks never got them. That was a nightmare too for some people. Still is. How about if we just stop paying you? How about if we hold you to that standard of performance, results, accountability, and consequence? And I'm saying, look, okay, we in many cases we vote people in for they serve like 4 years, minimum of 2. How about if we do it every fucking 6 months or every year, and just watch what you're doing? Because you know what? In so many states, they're so fucking upside down because of mismanaging money, but there's no consequence. They're going back to the federal government and going, here, we're not making it. It's federal government, give me more money. Now, how much of that money do you think is being put into the politicians' pockets? A lot. And yet they're telling you, no, fuck, you're not that important. We are. So if I'm running a business that's constantly going upside down in the negative, how long am I going to stay around? I can only borrow so much before they shut me down. The banks go, oh, no. Why do we keep doing this? Especially, let's just do it by performance. Let's look at all the states and say, how fiscally responsible are you in the black or the red? You're in the red, get the fuck out. You're done. Because you work for me. It's never going to happen, but I think it should, be in that sort of more in that line than just you having carte blanche and knowing that you're going to get bailed out by somebody else constantly. There's no consequence. And I'll tell you what, I feel better. I tell you what, I don't know because I'm not that smart, but I'm also not that stupid. with the stuff that's going on right now. It's an election year, you know. And again, I'm bagging on all of them, not just one group, all of them. They're all guilty of the same shit. That's the game that they play. But I bet you if the election was today, all this bullshit that's going on in the world would be gone tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's sickening. That's what's so fucking sickening about this. Dangerous. Especially when you start stepping on my civil liberties and you start restricting, and all of a sudden it's like, and you got people just following blindly. We talked about this on another show. It's amazing to me what's going on. And you know, I'm telling you, man, I told my kids too. I said, open your fucking eyes. You have to pay attention to what's going on. And if nothing else, you have to question things. Don't turn your, you know, because I know sometimes with me, I have a tendency of, it's going to work out. That's the optimistic side, maybe, that's talking, but I think mostly the denial side. I don't want to deal with it. Mm-hmm. It's going to work out. It always does. And it does. I have been in countries in the late 80s, East Bloc, Russia, Czechoslovakia, Bulgaria, and I was there when they were communist as a communist society. I went back and they were now transitioning to socialism. And I want to tell you something, and this is not much different than what's going on slowly in our society. Those people were not only repressed, but they were oppressed. And if you've never seen that up front and center, you have no fucking clue as to how this is going to look if we don't start fighting for our country and for what we believe in, our freedoms and our civil liberties. I'm telling you this right now, Cara. You know, when I was over there, you know how when this first happened, all of a sudden there were shortages.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
Uh-huh.
Wasn't that weird?
Yeah, that was weird.
How did you like going in and it's like you know, and I'm not saying, I think as Americans, we're spoiled as hell, especially after I saw that. You know, we just automatically think, hey, I'm going to go in there and get this, and as much as I want. Mm-hmm. What happened when all of a sudden it was like, wasn't that weird to you when you saw these empty shelves?
Yeah. Kind of pissed me off.
It's spooky.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they lived all the time. All the fucking time.
I think I was more pissed off because it was like we were the ones doing it to ourselves. It wasn't even the government. It was us doing it to ourselves. Yeah. People panicking and buying too many things. And then, mothers couldn't buy wipies. And it was like, you don't even need all these wipies. And then it got even worse because people started selling that stuff online because we were so empty in the stores. And then they're racking the prices up like triple. Then that was pissing me off. And it's like, okay, all this stuff that's really starting to piss me off is what we're doing to ourselves. And it's not even the government doing it.
Well, but it is in a sense.
In a sense.
Okay? Because again,
freaking us
I'm
out.
not saying that what was out there at that time wasn't scary.
Yeah.
But they hyped it so much, they created this overreaction, and look how fucking crazy people got.
Yeah.
Even to the point they were willing to go hoard stuff and then turn around and gouge people.
And then some people were starting to make rumors up of, all this political crap. And then those videos get out. And then people start panicking about that. And that wasn't even the government doing that. That was just, we have those people out there that have their opinions about certain things. And then they share it. And then it just gets way worse.
If we don't fight for what we believe, stand up. You stand up. Because if you don't, I'm telling you, in the direction that we're going, we saw a glimpse of that shit with the stores being bare, and we're still having trouble getting stuff. And
how many months has it been?
3.
Yeah.
And when I was in, I couldn't believe it. I fucking couldn't believe it. When I was in, where was I? Bulgaria. Oh, and Russia too, Cara. We went to they have like one supermarket where I was at. And it wasn't that uncommon, but they had these stores like you'd go to a meat store, instead of going to like a big supermarket, they have a meat store, and then you have bread, you know, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was staying with I had a translator when I was there, and they took me, and they were so amazing, you know. And even they said, you know, it's not the people, it's the government that starts pitting us against each other.
Yeah.
It's not the people. Those people were lovely. The Russians, they were lovely. I had firsthand experience with that. I got photos on the wall with people that I met. They were lovely people. And so I hung out with them, you know. We went to the store to get some meat. A fucking line to go get meat. When you get up there to, you know, to get your meat, piss poor selection. It was sparse. In fact, the athletes over there, they were telling me, I was there because I was going there I was writing my first book, Bulgarian Burst. And the athletes told us, they said, you know, we can't get a good source, a consistent source of protein year round.
Oh.
How would you like to live in that fucking world? Because that's where we're going.
Yeah.
If we don't straighten this shit out.
And these followers out here, they're going to be okay with it because they're going to readjust their lives and they're going to say, oh, okay, this is the new way that we live and we can do this.
You start getting used to a new normal.
And, yeah.
Like, this is a new normal. This is the way it's going to be. And all of a sudden you start giving into it.
Yeah. And then slowly it's going to happen more and more and more. And then, yeah, we're going to be like having curfews. And
that's what I saw over there. And I think maybe in part that's the reason why this is really spooking me. I mean, look, I don't have that, you know, based on stats, men live till average age.
I know, I was going to say, you think you'll be alive still?
I don't know, but I mean, based on stats, I'm good till about 78.
I know. I'm more concerned for like my son's generation.
Well, you better fucking do something about it. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah. Hey, I vote. I pay attention to that stuff.
You start paying attention, what's going on?
I started paying attention the year that Trump ran for president. That was when I started paying attention in a way I've never paid attention before. Like, I actually had two legs to stand on when it came to talking politics. I fought for something.
I don't know, man. And it's like, yeah, I kind of find myself, like when I wake up in the morning, you know, there's just something that just doesn't feel right.
You're getting a little anxious.
There's something that just doesn't feel right.
Do you feel like you're a little anxious now?
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm thinking, look, I'm lucky. I'm lucky. There's so many other people that are just, they have it way worse.
Yeah.
You know,
Very
I
true.
get that. But yet there's something, and it's because of what's going on.
Just uneasy about it all.
Well, you know, the thing about it is the uncertainty of it. Now, all of a sudden, you know, with this outbreak right now, which is, you know, we're getting bad information. Yes, it's ticking up, but we're getting the wrong information, and which is causing now all of a sudden our governor wants to come out and starts. He's saying, "Well, we're gonna have to get tougher on restrictions." Really?
Yeah, like,
really?
Dear Lord, what are the restrictions?
Oh, we're gonna do this again? This again? And I just think it's that's something that's going on. You know, and I will say this. You know, we are, as Americans, I think. I'll speak for myself. After I saw what I saw in Russia and those countries at that point, and people were lovely, man, in all those countries. They wanted to be like the Americans. They said, teach us how to be capitalistic. Can you imagine? When I was over there, because I had no reference. I mean, I wanted to talk to my translator, or no, one of the athletes. They hooked us up with the athletes there, because they had some like a competition going on, and I was going to some of the seminars and that kind of thing. And I wanted to talk to the athlete about something, and he grabbed me. Well, the translator was with us all the time. Nobody spoke English there. It's the first country that I was in my limited travel at that time, where no one spoke English except the translator. Yeah. It was weird. So they were kind of always with us. And when I went to ask that guy a question about something, he said, shh. I go, what do you mean, shh? He goes, we can't talk here. KGB. I mean, this is the kind of stuff we watch on TV. And he was telling me, KGB, we have to go over here and we have to talk softly.
Wow. Yeah, we talk very loudly here.
I mean, you don't think about that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden it's like, do you see what's going on with how people can get their free speech shut down? Are you seeing this? Are you seeing people that are standing up and they're trying to stand up for what they believe, and all of a sudden they get shut down with violence?
Mm-hmm.
That's what was going on there. I'll never forget that. And I'm so damn concerned about that for like you said, I have kids, grandkids, and all that kind of stuff, and it makes me very uneasy that this could actually happen. I would have never thought in a million years. Never.
That's scary. Hearing that come from you.
I would have never thought this. I have something else that makes me go, Getting back to these masks. So if we put a mask on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do we have to be 6 feet apart? Mm-hmm. If they're the reason why that's what's going to hold the spread down. Why? That doesn't make any sense to me. Does it make any sense to you?
No.
So why are we doing it?
I have no clue.
See, people aren't asking these questions. If for no other reason, question everything. It doesn't hurt to do that. It doesn't make sense to me. Combine that with if people put their hands on their mask and they're fiddling around with it, so they got their dirty fingers on their mask, and they're breathing all this. Is it really the mask that's keeping the spread from spreading? Is it really that?
Maybe let's play devil's advocate here. Maybe they're wanting us to wear masks because if we wear those, we're not putting our hands in our mouth, and our mouth isn't going on our hands. Okay, that is true.
In your eye.
Okay, but they can't really make us wear.
That's one of the holes that this virus.
Maybe they'll start have these friggin' goggles.
Well, they have these shields.
Wearing. True. So that. And
so you're going like this.
Then the 6 foot thing.
And you're going like this, even over your mask.
And the 6 foot thing is probably, I don't know, to help with maybe, because they say that it can come out of your mask or go inside your mask. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's where the 6 feet part comes in. Mm. And then that, some things are still closed down. Not a lot of gatherings. I don't know. Well, it's just either okay. So it's like wear a mask. Okay, we're wearing masks, but now we have to be 6 feet apart. Okay, we're 6 feet apart, but now we can only have like 10 people in a group. Okay, so we have 10 people in a group. No, still places are closed down. So it's just damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Well, that's true. And there's no easy answer. I do get that. Mm-hmm. I guess the point that I'm making is that
it's their thought that counts.
There's a lot more to all this than what is being portrayed. And I just saw on TV yesterday in New York, they wanted to cut. They're cutting all this $1 billion out of the police fund. Okay,
I saw that.
Yeah, you should have seen all the people that were there. Now I will say that they were. I'm not going to say everybody was wearing a mask, but a lot of people were. But they weren't 6 feet apart.
And they weren't doing anything about it?
Why didn't somebody go in and spread people out? I mean, is it really that important for us to do that? Because if it is, why don't you say, don't you have
isn't it just a suggestion?
Of course it is.
We're not 6 feet apart when we're out and about. No, but when you're in these stores that are, why are some stores following the guidelines and some I guess all stores are following the guidelines, but some of them are forcing you to wear masks, some of them are not. What is the difference, and who's the one making the decision on that?
Yeah, I asked somebody about that, and they said, in fact, I talked to one of the girls, Amy, who works for one of the grocery stores, mm-hmm. and she said it becomes a corporate policy. But that's bullshit, because I'll tell you why.
So corporate's coming up with it.
It's like a policy. Okay.
So that's like you deciding that we have to do it, and then we all have to do it because you said so.
It's corporate.
Your gym.
It's corporate. Okay. Yet, I was in Chipotle, and over here they want me to wear a mask. In LA, I didn't have to.
What? I would think in LA you would have to.
And I believe that Chipotle is corporate.
Mm.
So, it just keeps adding to the confusion and frustration.
Isn't Target corporate?
I would say yes.
Okay, and Walmart?
Yes, but you have to wear masks in Walmart now.
You do. But you don't have to in Target.
I know. Or Save Mart?
Save Mart?
I
heard
no.
Mart.
Yeah, Save Mart.
I heard that one. I can't say for sure because I haven't been, but I know for sure Target.
Save Mart too.
But Target, they try and scare you because the first minute for a while there, they didn't have a sign. And I was like, oh, I love you, Target. And then all of a sudden there's a sign that said you're required to wear a face mask upon entry, something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like when I read it, I was like, man. And so I put it on and then I walked around and noticed that some people didn't have them. And then I asked somebody, I was like, do we have to wear these? And it was like, oh, it's required, but you don't have to. But they're hoping that the masses and the followers will read that sign. And then about 98% of the people that walk into that store will wear it because the others will get scared and turn around and walk away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly right.
So now I just walk in there and everybody looks at me because I swear everybody in Target now is wearing masks. And if you walk in there without one, you're probably one of the 2% that's in there doing that.
Yeah. You have to deal with the shaming and all that bullshit.
I haven't had any shaming yet. Have you had any shaming?
No.
Oh. Well, that's a huge percent right there. That's 2 of us talking about it.
And I guess if you're, that other side, you can say, look, you're wearing the mask to make that person that is over there, feel safer. I mean, there's so many ways that you can look at this thing.
Okay, then my question is, if you're wearing a mask for the both of us, why do I have to wear it?
There you go. There you go.
You're wearing a mask for the both of us. Right? That's how I see it. I would politely say that. I think if somebody was like, oh my gosh, why aren't you wearing a mask? I'd be like, well, you're wearing one for the both of us. Like, you're not going to be getting anything coming out of my mouth.
Ooh.
And you should probably step back because you need to be 6 feet away from me.
How about
you're doing that?
How about here's another thing we can do. We're coming up with solutions.
We're having a little fun here.
Okay, solution here. How about if I go in and I have a patch right here that says I am I can't talk. I'm deaf. And
yeah, I saw that.
What? Somebody's done that?
No. I saw that there was a rule that if you are deaf or there was just a couple of other health things, you didn't have to wear a mask. And I literally was thinking, how does that apply to not wearing a mask?
If I can't speak, there's no goblets or whatever they call that spewing out of my mouth. I don't speak. I'm a mime. I'm a mime. Do I have to wear a mask?
Okay. What if you just go in there and you don't speak?
Essentially, that's the same thing.
Okay.
How about if we just had a shirt? I promise I won't speak.
I promise I won't open my mouth.
Is that okay? Because they're telling us that,
well, I think Target would be okay with it because, quite
frankly. But what about the people that are speaking and that's just flying in the air and it goes into your nose?
I think the ones that are choosing not to wear a mask are actually the ones that, if they're not wearing a mask, that's their business because they're the ones that are more exposed than the person that is wearing a mask.
So if you're exposed, just don't go in.
Well, the people that are wearing masks just shouldn't care what the other people are doing. So do you care that they're not getting vaccinated? Are you going to go up to them and yell at them for that? Hey, I got vaccinated. You better go get vaccinated because we're sharing a city.
The one of the doctors, I'm not going to even say his name because he's an idiot as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, okay.
Every one of his predictions and numbers way off. He knows who I'm talking about now. Other people do. It's way off. Mm-hmm. They said that they were thinking about having to prove that you've had a vaccine or you've been tested.
Oh,
dear Lord. This is where they want to go with all this shit.
I heard that the testing process is excruciatingly painful.
No, it's not as bad as it was before because they used to put a swab up there.
Yes, that's what I heard.
And to go down, yeah.
No, it's not that bad now.
No, they perfected it now. But the point is that it's like it's been talk of you have to prove if you've gotten tested.
Oh my gosh, how are we going to prove that?
Yeah, good. Yeah,
we have to have a label on our ear like a freaking cow?
Like a driver's license. You have to say, here, I've been tested. How about that?
Oh my gosh.
Is that what you want? Is that what you want? I'm asking you a question. Is that what you want?
No. Might as well put a tag on my ear like a freaking cow.
Exactly. Anyway, well, another day in the fishbowl.
Our fishbowl's getting really freaking foggy right now.
I know.
I think when we started this podcast, it was a pretty clear water.
It was.
And we were just like.
I thought about starting it with the dark shit first, and then finish with the eternal life. And
no, I think it's good because we started off in a very clear water. We're both fluttering around.
Does that say something about my personality? I could have started with dark first and finished with all feeling, finished with an up tone, eternal life and blah, blah, blah. I didn't do that.
No.
I decided to start with the good and end with the bad.
It's just like somebody saying I have good news and bad news. Which one do you start with?
Bad. I want to hear bad first.
Oh, really?
I do.
Well, then that's interesting because you started with good today.
I did?
Yes.
Oh, I did. See, I'm twisted. I'm so fucked up.
But now all of a sudden we're in our fishbowl and you're like barely flopping around. Just floating there just slowly.
I don't float well. You know why?
Oh, what do you have to say? Why?
Because I have a lot of muscle on my body. Muscle doesn't float.
Interesting.
How about you? Do you float or sink?
So that makes sense. I've been trying to float in the water lately and I've been sinking a lot.
Can you swim?
Slowly, mainly my lower part of my body.
Is sinking or floating?
Sinking.
Anyway.
Yes, I know how to swim. Do you know how to swim?
Back in 1942, I was a swim instructor for the SEALs team.
Oh, dear freaking Lord. Here we go with this.
I was. I've reinvented myself.
Clearly. You've reinvented yourself and you've reinvented your story and you've reinvented your life.
More than one time. I have.
Was this before or after your dad was born?
No, my dad was born way after that.
Okay, way after you were.
Yeah, 42. Yeah, he was born in like 53 or some shit.
So like 10 years after you were.
Yeah, I was a
swim instructor.
Yeah, I was a swim instructor for the SEALs team. It was their first SEALs team.
Wait, was your mom born?
No, I don't have.
She was not born yet.
She wasn't born yet. She wasn't ever born. She just appeared. She wasn't born. No, it was 42. Mm-hmm. And the Navy came out and they wanted to try. It was a test, the SEALs team test. But I trained all them.
Oh. Were you the first one to train all the SEALs? In
swimming, yes.
Yes, that makes sense.
I taught them how to swim.
I understand.
With a lot of endurance.
Uh-huh.
I never get the credit for it, but it's okay. I moved on. I'm now here.
It's very humbling of you.
I am a humble person. Well, anyway, so that's all I have to say today. You have anything you want to finish off with?
No.
Are you depressed now? Do you feel like you need to go see a shrink?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Now you gave me some
Now I'm really hungry. I feel way better.
Now I can go work out and get some of this. Yeah, because you just threw it up all over me.
Exactly. It's not good to internalize stuff. Did you know that?
Yes, I know.
It'll eat you alive.
Yeah.
It'll make your body acidic.
Some people try to be strong.
It'll make your body acidic, and guess what happens?
You start to get ill.
Cancer.
And have low immune.
Viruses, cancer, all that. So what's really smart to do, if you can, is throw up with somebody else. Make sure they have a mask, and you'll feel better.
Very good.
All right. Until we meet again in the fishbowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See out.
We out.